Thank you for being here this morning as we honor Howard Wayne. My name is Raul Campillo. I'm the council member for San Diego City Council District 7, which includes the Linda Vista neighborhood, of which Howard Wayne was an incredible leader and hero. And it's my great honor to be here as we celebrate and remember a truly incredible man, a leader, a Linda Vista community member, husband, brother, mentor, and role model, Howard Wayne. Though it's now been 6 months, yes, indeed. Though it's now been 6 months since Howard's passing, so many of us still think about him every single day. I think about him every single day as I'm talking to people about Linda Vista and asking myself, what would Howard do? As a city council member, there's no greater honor than to be remembered as someone who has a Howard Wayne-like approach. Indeed, when I was first running for council and during my first couple of years as a council member, I often turned to Howard for advice. And not only did Howard have his finger on the pulse of Linda Vista like no one else, but he was someone who made sure that he was mentoring and teaching others to be able to do public service as well. Howard Wayne embodied the noble principle, with malice towards none and with charity for all. Howard's passion to make a positive impact wherever he went, be it as a deputy attorney general, as an assembly member, chair of the Linda Vista planning group, or just in his daily life, he was truly admirable. And everyone who knew Howard also knew that when he advocated for something, there was a 99% chance he was right. If you found yourself at odds with Howard, you really needed to take a good look in the mirror and ask if you were right. And I know that the Linda Vista community is so thankful for Howard. Just the fact that there's so many people here today shows the impact he had on our lives, on our community, on our quality of life, and simply standing up for people and saying, this is what Linda Vista wants. Many people remember his work from his time in the state assembly, his legislation, his landmark legislation, AB 411, that continues to be important even to today. But I'm sure if you ask Howard, he'd say that his best times, his favorite times, was when he was serving as chair of the Linda Vista Planning Group. Howard's role in that capacity is what allowed me to work so closely with him on several issues he wanted to see resolved in Linda Vista. And in fact, not just in Linda Vista, in neighboring neighborhoods like Mission Valley and in Claremont, Howard did not just see himself as Linda Vista, but as all of San Diego. And I'm grateful to have had that opportunity to work with him, with such an inspiring person. Howard and I had a couple things in common, both elected officials, but more importantly, we were both huge fans of John F. Kennedy, which makes this quote even more meaningful for a special occasion. When John F. Kennedy was a senator and taking a break from the United States Senate to recuperate from back surgery, he wrote a book called Profiles in Courage about several United States senators who stood up at moments in time and had the courage to do what was right. And indeed, Howard Wayne, his life is a profile in courage, which I'm sure you will hear from moments from his family and friends later. I thought of him as a courageous man, and so this quote from John F. Kennedy's book rings true. In whatever arena of life one may meet the challenge of courage, whatever may be the sacrifices he faces if he follows his conscience, each man must decide for himself the course he will follow. The stories of past courage can define that ingredient. They can teach, they can offer hope, and they can provide inspiration. And that's what we're here to do, to honor Howard's story of courage. A courage that inspires me to do what I do as a city council member, and I'm sure inspires many of you. This sign not only tells us where we are, sure, people will be able to see that this is Howard Wayne Street, but to many of us, the sign is indeed a compass, telling us which direction to go, leading us with courage and inspiration. Even now, Howard will lead us. When we unveil this sign in a moment, it is my hope that those who knew Howard will think of him as they pass it, but those who didn't will know that a man named Howard Wayne led with courage for Linda Vista. They will wonder who he is, look him up, and follow his example. And by that, we will all be inspired, knowing that we had such a great community leader here in Linda Vista. There's other leaders here today who I'd love to recognize. First, I want to recognize Mary Lundberg, first and foremost, a friend, Howard's wife, a community leader in her own right.
Thank you.
Howard's brother, Robert, who was able to come down from Seattle. And I know two people here as well who followed Howard's example and called Howard on many occasions for advice. I'd like to honor Assemblymember Chris Ward, who's here, longtime city council member, public servant, and now assembly member for this area. And council president pro tem Joe LaCava, longtime community planning group leader, and who worked with Howard on many, many occasions. At this point, I would like to hand it over to Mary Lumberg for a few words about her husband, Howard Wayne. Please welcome Mary to the stage.
Thank you, Raul, and thank you, you guys, for doing this. I was married to Howard when we were in our 30s, and it was our first marriage for each of us, and we just knew. And we had 25 years together as a married couple, and it wasn't nearly long enough. But you say he was an inspiration to many people, but he was an inspiration to me as well, because we would have discussions about everything, and and he respected my point of view, but if he was right on something, he insisted on his point of view. And I love being married to him, and that's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mary. We'll now turn the microphone over to Howard's brother, who's come down from Seattle for this occasion, Howard Wayne.
The councilman's comments worried me a bit when he said whenever you're on the other side on Howard that you were probably wrong. I grew up with him. Thank you. But it certainly was a pleasure to watch his rise in politics, in the community. Because I know even as a youngster, from the time he was about 11 years old, he so wanted to be part of the solution, to be someone who made a positive difference. And he saw the route of politics as the way to get there. And he worked at it. You know, he didn't win his first run for the state assembly. He lost. Very frustrating. And a lot of people don't bounce back. But he had a conviction in himself, and a conviction that San Diego needed some change and some things that would be more positive for it. And in 1996, you folks elected him. And I want to thank you, because I can't tell you how important that was to him on a personal level. Now, I had long since left San Diego. I left in 1969, 55 years ago. So my view was a little distant, and I didn't get the benefit that you did in terms of the legislation and all the rest. But I want you to know that every time Howard and I spoke by phone, or when I would come down for a visit or he up there, politics, and more importantly, policy was always on his mind. What he could do. What? Oh. You know, I also taught for a while. I'm used to having my voice fill, but we are outside. That policy was so important to him, and getting people to adopt his viewpoint, because his viewpoint was a researched, experienced one. It wasn't random. It wasn't just populism. It wasn't just to make him stand out or look different. And he was honest about it. He would explain his reasons. He thought his reasons were right, and he was willing to debate them and have them heard and thought about and considered by the people and by the others who held elective office. And I'm so proud of the accomplishments that he had. It's kind of hard for me to believe that he's not around. As I told Mary the other day, in many ways, Howard and I were backstops to one another. I can recall in one election he had here, his opponent slandered him. And I told him, no, don't let that distract you. Don't run around and do something. Let me take care of it. He then referred to me as his Bobby Kennedy. And it's altogether fitting that the blocks in San Diego that could be chosen for this honor of having his name is this block. Mary lives just up the way, and Sardina's is one of his favorite restaurants.
It was the first restaurant we went to when we moved in.
Mary says it was the first restaurant they went to when they moved in. And they've lived in that house over 30 years. How many years, Mary?
A long time.
A long time. So I appreciate very much what you're doing. I very much appreciate the councilman's work on that. I've had a chance to talk to Raul several different times while I've been here. I've been incredibly impressed with him, not just because he likes my brother and he quotes my favorite president, because he seems like a man of great integrity in the same line that Howard would follow. And I hope he is very successful in his efforts on behalf of the citizens of this area. I hope he's recognized widely. But anyway, thank you all for being here. Thank you for this great honor for my brother. God bless you all.
Just got to say, Robert Wayne standing up for his brother who got slandered in a political campaign. Are you sure your name's not Bruce Wayne?
I've never heard that one.
There it is. So, we have a sign to give Mary for her to keep in her home, because we have the ones that are going to come up here. But Mary, if you would please come up here so we can provide you with this sign. We're so thankful. Unwrap it. Would you like to unwrap it? All right. Say Howard Wayne on it. Very good. All right. Without further delay, are we ready to go here, Miles? Mary, would you like to pull down the ribbon so that it will be up there forever? The ribbon's right over here. If you would like to join us over here on this block over here, we're going to unveil Howard Raines Street. Thank you all very much.
Oh, yeah. No, the next. Sorry. So turn down.
Excuse me.
Get over here.
So I dealt with it.
I know. Shh, don't jinx it. That's great.
That's totally appropriate.
You can see it on the other side of the street too.
Yeah, which is not a problem.
Desirable. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.